Hey folks, Jim Zaspel coming at you here once again with an exciting training video on rehabbing and flipping houses for huge profits. On this training video, what I'm going to show you is exactly step by step how to estimate repairs on houses quickly and easily. You are going to leave this video, once you watch it all the way through, knowing really darn well how to estimate repairs. So I'm going to show you here step by step kind of an itemized checklist what to go through. So I'm going to walk you through it, and then I'm going to give you the checklist and kind of a cost per breakdown. All right, so when you get to a house, the first thing you want to do is stand at the street and, of course, look around the neighborhood, right? Make sure it's a good block, but I'll get more to that on another video. Then what we're going to do is look at the house and make sure the roof line isn't leaning or bowing in the middle. It's just straight across, right? Look at the shingles. Are they laying flat? That's a good indicator. So you walk around the house and look for any indications of water penetration, meaning, is there any water getting in the house? Any water leaks? Is there any obvious stuff that needs to be repaired on the outside? While you're walking around outside, a couple things to look for are, one is if the house is supposed to have air conditioning, is the condenser, the compressor outside, or has it been stolen, right? So that's one to look out for. It's about $1,000 to replace it or so, maybe $1,500. Then the other thing you want to look for is the grading. Is the grade, so if the house is here, does the grade slope into the house? Hopefully not. If it does, you have to budget for fixing that. So I'm going to go through the list of things that are kind of a cost per, and then you'll go there. So once you get inside the house, what you want to do is you want to either start at the top or start at the bottom. I typically start at the top. Start at the top with the bedrooms and bathrooms, work your way down. Look for any, and when you're on the top floor, look for any brown spots in the ceiling, so for a sign of any water damage, okay? And of course you want to count the windows, get to that later as well. You come downstairs, if there's carpet, see if there's hardwood floors underneath that carpet, okay? If so, you'll probably want to refinish it. When you go downstairs, again, you're counting the windows, bathrooms, and of course you're going to take a look at the kitchen, see how big it is. And then you're going to go to the basement. Now I'll tell you, the basement can be an absolute money pit. Okay, you got a lot of things down there that can cost you a lot of money. Maybe you need to waterproof it. Maybe it needs to be finished. Maybe you have an HVAC system that needs to be installed or replaced, right? Maybe you've got a hot water heater that needs to be replaced. I don't know, okay? Maybe an electrical panel needs to be replaced. Maybe while you're outside, you want to check the service cable. So that's the big fat gray wire coming into the electric meter outside, and usually it's outside, and you want to look to see if it's frayed anywhere. So is the rubber on the outside in good condition or not? If not, you got to replace that. All right, so let's go through the list here. So we're starting upstairs in the house. I'm picturing a 4-bed, 2-bath colonial house with, and we'll go through some different items and different options. So I'm going to start over here. We're going to make a big list. So for bathrooms, if it's a full bath, I recommend that it's $5,000. Okay? So for a half bathroom, I have no clue if you can read this or not, it's going to be about $3,000. Okay? This is for a nice flip quality. So not for rentals, this is for if you're going to resell it. Okay? And that's pretty much it. So for a window, we usually budget $300 to $350 per window, okay? And if you can't read this, it's okay, don't worry. I'm gonna go back through and reference each one at the end of the video to make sure you've got everything, okay? So count the windows times 300. If there's a lot of rotten wood and you gotta recap everything, then make it $350 a window, okay? All right, next is we've got, let's say there's any carpet, okay? If you're installing carpet, then what I budget for is $3 per square foot, okay? If you refinish, that's an F, refinish hardwood, again, we're at $3 per square foot, okay? New hardwood, let's put new wood, equals about $8 a square foot. Okay, let's draw a line here. So we got bathrooms, we got windows, carpet, refinishing hardwood, new wood. Then we got a kitchen. Okay, kitchens vary based on size, of course, but you're generally going to be $12K to $15K. $12,000 to $15,000. Now that, by the way, all these prices assume your contractor is buying materials, which he should. More on that in another training video shows you how to work with your contractors. All right, so the kitchen is $12,000 to $15,000 per. Depends on how many, how big the kitchen is, how many cabinets and stuff like that. We're usually at 14 to 15 grand per kitchen. Okay, and if you need to open up a wall, put a half wall in with a granite overhang, you want to make it a $15,000 kitchen for opening up the wall. All right, then what's another one you might want to do? Okay, so let's say you've got to replace the electric panel. Okay. Now let's assume all the wiring is good wiring in the house. All right. Electric panel, we budget $1,500 for that. Okay. And what if you need a new service cable? That thing coming in outside, the 1 or 200 thing, you're going to do another $1,000 or so. All right. Now I want to stop here a second. You might have an electric panel that's in a really good condition, but it's only 100 amp. Should you upgrade to a 200 amp box? I don't know. It depends. So here's the deal. If you've got gas service to the house and you got a gas oven, gas range, you've got a gas hot water heater, a gas forced hot air heater, or some sort of gas heat system, I don't know, up to 2,000 square feet or so, if you've got gas, you can have only a 100 amp box. You'll be fine. Reason being, those items I just mentioned are the highest draw on energy, and so if you're not having to supply electricity to those, then you'll be a whole lot better off. All right, but again, if you need to upgrade it, $1,500 and $1,000 roughly. All right, so let's say you need to install a new HVAC system, including the compressor outside. So let's say all the ductwork is in place in the house, meaning there's grates coming up in the floors and returns in the ceiling, that kind of stuff. And so all this stuff's in place already, but you just need a new unit because they got flooded out or rusted or it's just too old. Okay, you're going to be, so HVAC unit, give or take $500, depending on the size, the tonnage. You're going to get $5,500 bought and installed. Bought and installed. Okay. Now, what if you have to install ductwork on a house? In my experience, on a 1,500 square foot house, if I'm going to install HVAC unit, it's heating and air conditioning, and the ductwork, which means framing out in closets, running lines all over the place. So I'm just going to do HVAC and ductwork. On a 1,500 square foot house, so you can adjust it up or down accordingly, you're going to be at about $12,000 to install heating and air conditioning. Now, I'll tell you a little potential cost savings here is if you've got a hot water heating system, so the radiators on the floor, not the electric ones, the radiator ones have the coils inside, the real old metal ones or the big boxy ones, that's great heat. So long as the lines aren't cracked and blown, then that's good heat, and you can just add supplemental air conditioning. So if it's a ranch style house and you get heat, leave it. It's great. It's the most energy efficient. You've got gas, hot water heat, meaning a gas heats a boiler, the boiler heats powers the boiler heats the water and sends it through all these plumbing tubes into these radiators. The heat radiates into the rooms, and if you've got a ranch style house, it's super easy to put an air conditioning unit up in the attic and then just run these arms that drop the air conditioning down into the rooms beneath it. All right, you can do the same thing in Colonial. In fact, we're doing that on a house right now. I forget which one it is, but that same thing. The heat works great. We're just adding air conditioning. So to add air conditioning, you're going to be still in the $4,000 to $5,000 range without the heat. All right, so this might seem like a lot. These are all things you're going to encounter, so you want to make sure that you know all of these. Hot water heater, your $750 to $1,000 installed. Okay, bought and installed. All right, what else do you got? So you got the kitchen, you got the bathrooms, you got the windows. Let's talk about a roof. Now, when I say a roof, there's two ways to do a roof. You can just do the shingles, you can do the shingles and the plywood underneath it. So for a 1,500 square foot house, that's a pretty simple roof line, not all sorts of gables and weird stuff going on up top. Then what you're going to be looking at, so for a roof on a 1,500 square foot, this is not a row house. It's cheaper on a row house. That's one thing that's cheaper on row houses. Roof, you're going to be about $8,000 to replace the shingles and plywood on about a 1,500 square foot house. That's a simple roof line, right? If you're in the city and you're just doing a rubber coat, cut that number in half. Okay, like on a row house or in Norristown, something like that. Cut that number in half if you're in the city. Okay, let's talk about paint. Paint, $3 per square foot. That's That's my estimate. All right. So let's walk through the house. We walk through the house. Oh, we got siding. Let's do another one over here. Siding is typically about the same cost as a roof. I don't know if you knew that or not. So on a 14 to 1500 square foot house, if I'm going to side all four sides of the house, on a 14 or 1500 square foot house, you're going to be about 8,000 bucks. Okay, 6,000 to 8,000 bucks, somewhere in there, depending again on how many windows there are to cut around and that kind of stuff. All right. Some other things you want to take into consideration is resurfacing the driveway. So let's say it's just got a little bit of cracks and it's really pretty ugly and it needs to be resurfaced. On an average driveway, you're going to be looking at about $1,500, maybe actually $2,000 to resurface a driveway. Okay, that's not digging it up, putting in a brand new one. That's a whole other quote. I have to get a quote on that. Okay, now some miscellaneous things you need a budget for. All right, let's talk about landscaping. That's my former profession. Before I learned how to make real money, I found our average landscape project is $3,000. Okay, now learn an important lesson. This is important. This lesson cost me a lot of money because I used to be a landscaper before real estate, and so for me, when I rehabbed my first couple houses, landscaping was super important. I wanted to be landscaped to the nines, like, oh, curb appeal, man, it's got to be full of curb appeal. Well, here's the deal. As long as it's cute, it's clean and crisp, people don't care if it's short bushes or tall bushes. It doesn't matter. It should just be crisp and clean, done, cleaned up. So our average landscaping bill is about 3,000 bucks. Now, we've done them almost $20,000 for a project, but it was a freaking jungle. It was disgusting, right? So anyway, that's landscaping. Some other things you want to consider, you want to look at, are the condition of the patios. Okay. Sidewalks and curbs. I'm not going to give you prices on these, because this varies a lot by the area, and because there's obviously different size patios, different lengths of sidewalk. If we've got to replace a section of sidewalks, it's like 3 foot square, we plan on a couple $100 per section, and don't recall the price per foot for curbs. It really varies. So if you come across a house where you need patio done, curb work done, just call somebody out once, learn that lesson just exactly one time, and you'll be set. All right, patios, sidewalks, we talked about landscaping. All right, now the big one is the miscellaneous. It is 20% of your overall cost, because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking right now, by the way, the one thing I did not include here was plumbing, because plumbing really varies. If it's just a little fixtures here and there for a bathroom, a kitchen, whatever, that's covered in miscellaneous. We've got to do a new line, replumb the whole house. That's totally different. By the way, if you have to rewire an entire house, that's going to be in the neighborhood of $8,000 to $10,000. Okay, in the neighborhood of. It depends on a lot of different things. If there's a lot of drywall work, you want to get a quote for that. You learn how to estimate that as well. But again, that's one of those things that can't give you a price per, because it really depends on the condition of the house and whatnot. All right, so let's go through and review these numbers so you can write these down. Full bathroom to gut and renovate is $5,000. Half bath, $3,000. Windows, $300 to $350 per. Carpet, $3 per square foot. Refinishing hardwood floors, $3 per square foot. New hardwood floors, $8 per square foot. A new kitchen is going to cost you $12,000 to $15,000. A new electrical panel is going to cost you $1,500. New service cable, $1,000. New HVAC unit, $5,000 to $6,000, depending on the size. HVAC and ductwork is going to be $12,000. Hot water heater is $750 to $1,000, depending on the size. A roof for about a 1,500 square foot house and a simple roof line, including plywood. So if there's been a lot of water damage, you have to replace the plywood. If not, you won't. Take $1,000 or $2,000 off. But about $8,000. Paint, $3 per square foot. Siding on a 1,500 square foot, relatively simple house in the neighborhood of $8,000. Driveway, just to resurface it if you need to. And by the way, you'd be surprised at how very little often you really rarely you need to resurface the driveway. Power wash it. If it's really bad, seal coat it. Right? It's amazing. So if it's in just absolutely horrendous shape, like huge potholes, then you resurface it. Otherwise, you can power wash it and seal coat it. A couple $100. Landscaping on average is $3,000. I really recommend you get a landscaper quote 1 or 2 year projects so you know where they're at. Patios really depend, but usually you can fix a patio for a few grand if it needs fixing, meaning replace or pour over or something like that. Sidewalks and curbs, about $200 per section of sidewalk. Curbs really varies. Get a quote on that, because again, that varies by area. And also, in regards to the curbs, in most areas you don't have to. So some townships where we live require the curbs to be in great conditions. We got to replace some. Some they don't care at all. So you may not have to do anything with the curbs. Know your local ordinances there. Same with the sidewalks. And we only replace sidewalks, sections of them, if they're in really bad condition. Okay. Miscellaneous, 20%. So you add all this stuff up, multiply times 1.2, and that's your total rehab figure. This covers your plumbing fixtures, your electrical fixtures, a little bit of wiring, a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of touch up here and there. Okay. I should mention for the basement, if you're going to paint a basement, it's going to be about $1,500 to $2,000. That's to dry lock the walls, paint them white, and paint the floors battleship gray. Okay. If you want to finish a basement, it's going to be, depending on the size, we budget between $8,000 and $10,000 per basement. Again, that really varies if you're putting a bathroom down there and on the sides, but 8 to 10 grand. So if you're doing a 1,000 square foot ranch house and it's got a living room, a dining room, or maybe a living room, no dining room, a kitchen, a few bedrooms, and a bathroom, then you want to put a family room downstairs so you have space for it. So that's how you estimate repairs. I hope you wrote down the list I just gave you. If not, rewind the video and watch it again, and you can have that checklist for you every time you walk through a house. And now, in a matter of minutes, with a calculator, you'll know exactly how to estimate your repairs. All right, on the next video, I got some cool stuff in store for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few types of houses to avoid. So forget all this stuff. I don't care how good the numbers are. There are a few types of houses that you do not want to buy. I've learned this lesson the very hard way. I sold 5 rehabs this month, my wife and I did, and 2 of them we broke even on. Didn't make any money. Why? I'll tell you why in the next video. Jim Zaspel signing off. I'll see you on the other side.